on plot 4 Adumi Road. At the same time, we also have a branch in Masaka and also have a branch in Soroti. We're about to start a branch in Gulu, and that means that by the time we have a branch in Mbarara, we'll have assumed a national character. Apart from practicing law, I am also a businessman. One thing which is common with us from West Nile is that business is in our blood. You remember the Arua Boys people. So as a businessman, I'm a director in Vino Planet. I'm a director in Capital One Launch, one of the latest happening places in Arua City. I'm a director in Club Geluta in Koboko. I'm a director apa ene ki kan ku indreke itani bo indreke azidi ni ngaruo dabo indreke via azi ba warama vuoro dipini munze anduri odufone SSF dri yo dikade odobo amadoro yo lenzera. What I've just said is that today is Financial Literacy Day for customers and for our people in West Nile. We shall go into details about these concepts, the concept of saving, the concept of investing, the concept of debts, the concept of starting small and growing. And that will be our main theme of today. Thank you so much. By the way, I graduated last Friday with a master's in oil and gas. So I'm not only the criminal lawyer, you know, I'm soon becoming an energy expert. Thank you so much, NSSF. Thank you so much, viewers. Thank you so much, my relatives from West Nile. I did not mention one thing about myself. I am also quite involved in social matters. As far as social matters is concerned, I'm the president of West Nile Foundation, a body which is in charge, is an NGO sort of non-profit making. We help each other, we're our keepers, our brothers keepers. In Kampala, under the West Nile Foundation, we started something called West Nile Educational Trust Fund. So far, we have educated, out of the small funds we get from friends and dinners, we have educated 30 medical personnel, most of them in medical school. We pay fees to disadvantaged people from West Nile. Right from our first student or beneficiary was from Yumbe, the second one was from Ajumani, then we had one from Moyo, Terego, Bongi, Koboko, Maracha, Arua District, Zombo, Nebi, Pakwach. And we are very grateful for the West Nilers with their spirit. So we want to educate 400 scientists, doctors, engineers, pharmacists, and that's our vision. By the end of that day, at least, I think as of now, the number of students we are educating might reach around 50. They're intelligent, they are very brilliant, but they are always from poor backgrounds. So we try to empower them. Apart from being the president of West Nile Foundation, I'm also the Secretary General of a body from my district called Terego Development Forum. That forum, we also want to uplift people from Terego so that You know, people look at us, we are so many who are highly educated. By the way, us from Terego are the most educated people from West Nile. But unfortunately, unfortunately, if you go to West Nile, Terego district is the house, or the accommodation Terego district is just grass thatched huts. Most of our colleagues who are doctors, engineers, and so on and so forth, fear to invest home, fear to build a decent house. So we are trying to change that mindset and say, look, gentlemen, God has blessed us. Let's go back. Let's put up structures. Let's make our district look like the rest of the district in Arua. Because with the Arua city, the dynamics have changed. So I'm also a local leader in that aspect. Then I got involved a lot in small activities. Our foundation helps so much when we have small issues touching any of us, whether any member from West Nile has died or is going to get married, we come together, we support that person. And we are very grateful. We are so united, and we are a very big force outside here. The good thing is, of recent, we have merged with Arua Community, Arua Business Community Association, headed by Obeta Moses. And then, of course, we're also deep in the church, both the Catholic Church, the Protestant Church, and also our brothers, the Muslims. So from us, West Nile, we have a multidimensional background. We take pride in the Nubian culture, in the Arab culture, of honoring the word of mouth and of being honest, and then the Lugara culture, the Aluru culture, and the Madi culture of being straightforward and of being very, very honest. Thank you so much. Viewers, I hope we shall gain a lot out of this interaction. Our Emina Mbamba.
Alaka, philanthropist, oil and gas expert,
criminal lawyer.
Criminal lawyer. The list goes on and on and on. We move on to our next panelist, Joel Aita. I don't know if he's online.
Yeah, he's there.
Yes, Joel, over to you.
Its location. West Nile is 8 to 10 hours away from Central African Republic.
as I achieved that milestone, and that you clearly stated that that's when I also we lost our beloved son. That was a late Francis Ayubu at the same time, but in May, in a motor accident. Yes, I'm a medical doctor, like I said. I've been practicing, worked in Nile, worked in the districts of Isinjiro, Chendojo. I spent the last 10 years in the health monitoring unit of the State House, doing what they call in a field of health care called health system strengthening. Most people are used to the clinical aspect of health care, but I think you know that COVID has shown that the clinical aspect is one side, but you have various components. You have research, medical research. You have policy, which I'm involved in right now. You have health system strengthening. You have statistics, and so many other aspects. So they all have to work in tandem. They all have to be interlinked. And I happen to have gone through those steps, from the clinical aspects to public health system strengthening. Now I'm at the policy level. I also happen to be, besides being the member of parliament of Kaboko municipality, I'm also the chairperson of the Parliamentary Committee on Health, which oversees the health sector. It is such a very big task in the light of COVID. And I must say I hit the ground running, and I've not rested ever since I took off of office. My aim is to clearly see that we try and jumpstart the health sector back into motion in the light of COVID and its challenges. I know West Nile like the back of my palm when I was in West Nile. Literally know most of their main health centers and hospitals, been in and out. And so on the side of healthcare, I think I have a lot to contribute to West Nile in terms of development of the infrastructure, but most importantly, the health services. I've worked alongside Joel Aita since the World Bank project, Lago Hospital, where he is still the lead consultant. Kulu Hospital, also known as Yumbe Hospital, where again he was a consultant, and with so many other projects. So he's not a new person to me. He's quite good at what he does, and good work speaks for itself. For him to be able to get these multi-million-dollar projects. So yes, the future is very bright for West Nile. I support a lot of social engagements in the region, but most importantly in my district, the Francis Ayume Memorial Tournament for the last 6 years. I'm also an ardent sportsman. I play football. Compared to Joel, I also had a team called West Nile United in Arua, but it collapsed. And I think some guys from Arua, I don't know if it was Alaka and its people, but I think my team was bought without my knowledge. So I no longer have a team, but I will bounce back with time. I'm passionate about the environment. We as a family have an organization called the Francis Ayume Foundation. It's to champion girl child education. We haven't taken off fully, but we've been supporting out of pocket students, needy students to go and study. And I think this year we have the second tranche of girls going to nursing school, I think 13 of them. And then I think next month, another 15 people will also be going to university. So we've been picking it up, but out of pocket. And then we're also passionate as a foundation in matters related to the environment. And I think we are going to start doing a lot of tree planting in Koboko and hopefully roll it out to West Nile, which has really suffered the branch of environmental degradation. We all know why. But again, that's a vision of the foundation, education and also environment. So in a nutshell, that is who I am. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Charles. So they are all football club owners, they are all philanthropists, they are all great men. It's all I can say. Let me hand over to the moderator, Andama. Please continue with the deliberation.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Charles. I think before you go away, you indeed told us that you are the chairperson of Health Committee, which is a very good thing for West Nile region. And we also know that you're a medical doctor. During the campaigns, you know the COVID-19, the effects of COVID-19 now. We never saw anything to do with the SOPs during your campaigns. And even your look now does not look like somebody who is affected by the effects of COVID-19. And yet, the COVID-19 had a devastating effect on West Nile. What is your experience of COVID-19?
My experience of COVID-19 is, first and foremost, I would want to commend and salute our president, His Excellency, Yoweri Kaguta Museveni, for really being quite exemplary in the way he approached COVID-19 and trying to enforce the SOPs. And that said, Uganda had been recognized globally, and also his efforts had been recognized globally. And of course, like he has always put it, is that that virus, it is us who look for the virus. It is us who transport it. For that virus to move from Kampala to Arua or to Koboko, it has to be either you or me to transport it. So in a nutshell, we are the ones who look for it. If we comply to SOPs, then I think the future is bright. In the first lockdown, where it was a new phenomenon, it was a new virus, we were all scared about it, we complied to SOPs, then we saw that we were able to control the level of spread. The epicenters could easily be identified, and everybody knew about this. But I think one problem with mankind or with humanity is that whenever you try and compromise or restrict their freedom, that's the worst thing you can do to any human being. And that's why Alaka will tell you the worst thing you can do to a human being is to confine him, to incarcerate him, where his basic freedoms, especially of movement, are curtailed. Now that is what SOPs will do. Cut you back from going to the nightclubs like Geluta, which my brother Alaka owns, freedom of movement and all that. Now to a human being, those restrictions bring a lot of anxiety. But we have seen that it's the best way forward. Even countries with the best healthcare systems have fallen prey to coronavirus. I hear many people talking about ICUs and all that. That is just one component. But ICUs are nothing if we do not adhere to the principles and guidelines of SOPs. I would also want to commend the president that he did what they call he was quite exemplary that during his campaigns, he didn't go out for the fully blown campaigns. As MPs, he was just meeting us at Muni. He was meeting people at zonal level, and few people, SOPs were observed, and he was at a distance. We had to be searched, we had to be screened, we had to be in masks. And I think for us, that was a sign that the leadership is steadfast, and he as the president wants, if there's any other person who wants COVID out of Uganda, it's the president. But of course, cascading down to the community level, there are times there are certain things beyond your control as an individual, especially during campaigns. You'll try and there are times when I would have to abandon my vehicle, jump onto a motorcycle and flee, because you will try and talk to 5 people, 20 people gather. So it's a bit of a delicate situation. But yes, we are very lucky that we have not seen in West Nile huge cases that have been so alarming in terms of morbidity and mortality. And I think going forward as a country, we are getting better and better prepared to contain the pandemic. There's a lot of social awareness, but also we are building the infrastructure and the services like oxygen. I think Arua Regional Referral Hospital received ICU beds. It is still operating as a high dependency unit as we finalize construction of what should be the permanent home of the ICU. A high dependency unit is just a step below an ICU. It is able to treat moderate to critical, but not as superior as an ICU. But we shall get there. What we are trying to tell as a committee, what we are trying to advise Ministry of Health is, can we cascade treatment of COVID patients down to general hospitals, like the ones in Moyo, like the ones in Nebi, like the one in Koboko, like the one in Ajumani, and also to health center 4s that have shown and exhibited capacity in terms of isolation units and the necessary staff to prevent unnecessary furloughs. Thank you.
Thank you, Charles. Something has been bubbling in my mind. I want to find out, sorry, moderator, for jumping in. I want to find out, you guys have mentioned so many Charles. Things. Something has been, I want to find out in my mind. I want to, how are you able to multitask? Have all these businesses Charles. Something has been in all these companies bubbling in my mind. I want to find out, sorry, moderator, for jumping in. I want to find out, you guys have mentioned so many Charles. Things. Something has been, I want to find out in my mind.
Yeah, thanks so much. The answer is simple. It's about your attitude towards life. That's just the answer. If you have a positive attitude, you can do anything under the sky. And it also comes with the mindset you have. If others can do it, why not you? That's just the answer.
Attitude, huh?
Attitude and mindset.
Really? No late nights, no.
No, you have to go a mile apart. One thing is, I've always read about billionaires, Elon Musk. I've always taken interest in so many things. NSSF, I've read about it. I've read about successful people. And they all have one common thing: attitude, mindset, and hard work. For instance, you know, in town, there are so many people who come around and tell lies that you can make quick money. I've always said, I look towards Sudir. If Sudir can enter that venture, maybe. But if Sudir is not doing it, then you are just lying to me. Because how do you imagine that money can be quick? No, there's no quick money. You have to work for it. You have to persevere. You have to save. You have to be frugal. And you have to work beyond the normal times. It's very, very important. So all that comes from attitude.
Thank you very much, Alaka. Let me ask Joel. Joel, I don't know if you're still with us. What's your secret? Is it attitude? Is it late nights? Is it a secret that you might be having and you'd like to share with us? Is Charles with us? Or, sorry, is Joel with us? Joel seems to be off. I think let me shoot the question to Charles back. Charles, what's your secret for you?
Well, I think it's there's a component of hard work, mindset, and you have to believe in yourself. I want us as West Nilers to zap ourselves and get out of that mindset, because I have in Koboko sometimes when I encourage my youth to apply for jobs and all that, there's that mindset change. Oh, we are people from West Nile. There's that still mindset change of Aminizim, we want to get the job. And yet when you look at somebody's CV, it is a colonial one, you know, still having those basics like religion, marital status. I was a classroom monitor and things like that. And if you looked at the modern CVs, that CV would not stand the time of day. So I'll go back, mindset change, hard work, and attitude. A day has 24 hours from the biblical times. It has never had 24 plus 10 minutes or 24 plus 60 seconds. So you have to fit within the 24 hours. So put in extra hours if need be. Thank you.
So I've not had anyone say it's the madam. Madam was helping me. A strong family system in place. Just having the right attitude, the right mindset is what will take you there.
No, you cannot have that correct attitude. You cannot work hard, and you cannot have that mindset if you do not have a stable family. Actually, in most cases, every man under the sky is pushed by madam. Otherwise, if it was not for madam's capabilities, maybe we would not have been what we are. So strong family ties, and that's one of the reasons why we from West Nile are so social. You know, in West Nile, a lady, say in Lugbara, is called Oku. Oku is somebody who brings people together. And in most of our settings, that is what makes us to stand out as West Nilers. So a strong family tie, and then the belief in a God. But the reality is the attitude you have. If you don't have that attitude, however hardworking you are, if you don't have that mindset which doctor has talked about, then I want to assure you, you can't go far. But if you have that self-belief, if you have that attitude, and if you believe in yourself, and then with a good environment of a strong family, you'll go very, very far. Thank you.
Thank you, Caleb.
Oh yes, I also forgot the element of God. He's quite supreme, and it's paramount above all whatever we are trying to achieve. Thank you.
Okay. Yes, indeed. Prayers, and having the right attitude. So let me start with Caleb. Why law? Why did you choose to become a lawyer? And then along the way, was it a need for you to shift? Is it because now the economies are changing, oil and gas is the new thing, now I need, to gain that skill in that space? Or is it that you just like amassing all this knowledge?
Yeah, that's a very interesting question. I was with the chairman, Robert, in the same school, Mvara SS. If you are a gentleman or a lady from West Nile, doing arts is considered an abomination.
Oil and gas is the new thing.
Doing arts is considered an abomination. Most West Nilers are actually scientists.
Now I need,
no doubt you'll find Dr. Orodria, Dr. Chatre, Dr. Driwale, Dr. Yume, Dr. Apo, so many, Dr. Kingi. Arts is Dr. Silva Nzivwa, a handful. So us we were
an abomination. Oil and gas is the new thing.
Us we were an exception. And then, of course, for me, I think no doubt like you'll find Dr. Orodria, Dr. Chatre, Dr. Duwale, Dr. Yume, Dr. Apo, so many, Dr. King, arts same grade in all subjects, Dr. A 2 or a 1, Silva Nzivwa, the issue is a handful. So us we except an abomination. For me, it was my late mom who encouraged me to become a lawyer. I wanted to become a doctor because I admire doctors a lot. But apart from my mom, my late mom, there are 3 people who inspired me to become a lawyer. One of them was the late Francis Ayume. I have a cousin called Livingston Ojaku. He was staying with the late Francis, the Attorney General and the former Speaker, the father to Dr. Charles Ayume. So when I met him, it created a very big impression on me. Then when I met Judy Obitregama, and then I was like, no, I also want to become a lawyer. So that was one of the factors. People inspired me, those two people. Later, when I became a lawyer, I strictly have been a lawyer, but I started also looking at what other people do. When I traveled around the world, I came to find out that, yes, you can multitask, and the world is about multitasking. So I had to go into the business world, I had to go into farming, then I had to go into sports, philanthropy, and right now the in thing is oil and gas. I had to enroll in the Institute of Petroleum Studies, burnt the midnight candle, read the whole night. It was worse than LDC. But in a record 12, 15 months, I graduated. They awarded us the UCU Masters of Law. And I really encourage people who have the time to take these opportunities. It's good to seek knowledge. You'll never be the same. So that's my philosophy in life. Thank you.
Thank you, Alaka. Thank you, Alaka. You burnt the midnight oil. Charles, I don't know if we still have Charles. Charles, what was it? Why was it medicine? Why was it not law? Why wasn't it not accounting? Why was it not any other profession? Why medicine?
Initially, I had.
You'll never be the same. So that's my philosophy in life. Thank you.
Thank you, Alaka. Thank you, Alaka. You burnt the midnight oil. Charles, I don't know if we still have Charles. Charles, what was it? Why was it medicine? Why was it not law? Why wasn't it not accounting? Why was it not any other? We can't.
amatujari epidiki inenga kweresa disi vino pimatio pizaru angukarakara pimatio pizaru school pimatio pizaru so banga eyo di aru afungongo igata mavure dini eyo kori sa covid ni muzoele alifuiri kaliri sirisi eyo achaki onzi bandra dripi sende akoru kan kusende bapi bank ya kan kusende bapi pariezi ya kuri chikidro onzi abanda vya sende bapi ra kini duseyo dikamu atoyoru ozoru bamu afadayo iri mungu kwa yazara adansi ama westnale adi amadile bati amadile onzi viati okorea ango amareliru ngazo vadwa nambiri safaze amani o irisende usu ngazo amvedwa amadripika bandra abo apini ode adelayo afasende GPA road areke aduke factory kidayo kaniku lesu yo afazibu uzi Kampala doa kine bade afadu uzi sende ngamu dala yo so eyo corona ni amusu zodisi adwe yo amusuke achiki driambamba afadi fede amani gata ledibo do sende aduniari ndrele alu iti sende usubo mi sende dasi alu o midi anana kanazila mi bakala wereti silinga alifu alu rudiru ambamba silinga alifu alu mini ndada mi silinga diradi milioni alu badi alifu alu nze silinga ata alifu turoro mi kalioro mdinoro mi ata bala mi milioni aruku so igata sadsi amadriri iyo dipina musuzobo leba wa aduni lebodo yega iyo dusiri dru aya levia bodo sende tamba indi ausani afombe sende di umuni andrumi atuni dusimi adalayo levia bodo afaski okala were kala afa Ethiopia matamba pingbarari sende were amini usuri miayo langoni. Now thank you, that was for my people. Let me be brief in the answer in the official language. Yes, COVID affected everybody, including us. The first lockdown and the second lockdown. Our law practices went down, but it was also a reality check. For long, we have never known the value of money. First of all, we've always taken things for granted. Whether all Ugandans across the board, we love a hand-to-mouth life. You know, when you come to town, you'll have money. You go back. Whatever you've got, at times people move with money in their pockets. But COVID was a reality check. In Kampala, there's a saying among so many people that your best relative or your best friend is your ATM card. But the moment your ATM card shows you that zero balance, you can sleep hungry. Now, what does that show about how we are supposed to do things? One, there are three concepts. The concept of money. In our language, we say money is a visitor. Today you have it, tomorrow you don't have it. But that's not true. If you think clearly, money is not actually a visitor. If you have the concept of 1, saving, 2, investing, 3, managing your debts, then money will never be a visitor. Now, if there are opportunities, unfortunately, I really want to appreciate NSSF because people do not give these opportunities NSSF is doing with the Customer Connect Week. These are big, big opportunities. And that's how Kenyans defeat us. The issue of financial literacy is a small issue in Uganda, but in the rest of the world, it's the biggest issue. In Uganda, somebody calls you and tells you that I have a problem. I need the 1 million shillings by Wednesday. It's a Monday. By Wednesday, I'll give you the money. What problem is that cannot wait up to that Wednesday? People want to live the lives they don't have. People want to spend what they don't have. Somebody will see a good car. Somebody has a car at home, but he sees a good car, he wants to buy it. Why do people drive number plates? Why do we have that mentality? So long as we don't have that concept, COVID showed us that, you see, people who saved, people had savings elsewhere. And see, this saving is also not always for a bad day. No. there must be that saving for a bad day, and then there must be also that saving to catapult you. Because if you don't have investments, if you don't have saving, if you don't have earning, then you're in a big problem. But most importantly, budgeting. The small money you have. If you have 100,000, what do you do for the house? What do you do for the car? What do you do for students or your dependents? If you don't have those questions, you'll always run into problems. NSSF, thanks so much. We need more of these interactions. This week will be very beneficial. And I want to assure you, I myself who is speaking also is gaining from it. Because in as much as Ayume is my brother, Aitajo is my brother, this is the first time that we have sat together in a panel and known each other deeper. And yet we have grown together, we have played together as kids, we've seen ourselves grow, but money is very important. 1,000 shillings is very, very important. Because if you have 1 million shillings and you have moved 1,000 shillings, then you have 999,999. You cease to be a millionaire. The same is with, and you see, so long as you have 1,000 shillings, you can buy this worker's house. And I'll tell you how. Thank you. I'll tell you how you can buy worker's house with 1,000 shillings.
Alaka, we need to have a sidebar and we discuss that 1,000 shilling to purchase worker's house. Andama, you've heard all Alaka has to say on how we must save, on how we must budget, on how 1,000 shillings is very important. What has NSSF done to help the youth, to help the people from the region?
Thank you so much, Alex, for this question. I think one of the devastating effects of COVID-19 is felt by the fund. I want to tell you outside there when we're doing work, we deal with the fund. I mean, we deal with employers, and it has a devastating effect on employers, especially the private-owned employers. You will find an employer cannot even afford to now pay. What has NSSF done to revamp this? One, they have waivers. Now, what we do is we go and we audit you. We want to find how much you owe to the fund, and then we encourage you to apply to the managing director for a waiver, which I'm gladly saying that our managing director is doing because he knows the effect of this COVID-19 on employers. He's offering waivers. We are rescheduling deeds because once you audit an employer and the employer is unable to pay for obvious reasons we know, what do? You have to reschedule the audit. So we defer. Rescheduling, pay at a later date. And then we also encourage now our employers to go into voluntary savings because we know that is where that is the catchment area now where we can revamp this. And at policy level, we are also looking at maybe the Honorable Ayumes to look at policy level, maybe having tax waivers for employers so that they can revamp this, or we have tax holidays to these small employers because the tax affects them so much, and we believe if they do it, this economy will be revamped. Thank you.
Thank you, Andama. Good insights there. NSF is doing a lot of good work. Over to you, Charles. What do you think we need to do? What advice would you give to get that money in your pocket, to save that money, to rebuild from what the pandemic might have taken away from us?
Thank you very much. I know this may sound very brutal, but if I manage to skim the health effects of COVID, that is death and morbidity, which is the illness. If I put that aside, in my opinion, I think COVID has been one of the best things that has happened to the globe. It has zapped us, it has jump-started us into critical thinking in all fields, whether it is IT. I'm attending this meeting in virtually. Made us more of a global village. And I think it has shown us novel ways, novel technology, novel ways, and better planning, and so many other things. But coming back onto the issue of saving, first and foremost, I thank NSSF for this awareness week. But going back to, as a legislator, what I'm seeing in Parliament, I think NSSF should take time. This awareness, get the legislators, put them in a hall, that the committee that is responsible and all that, and then take them through. Sometimes we come forward when we are not well grounded. We don't know the importance of social security. We don't know how we arrive at the 10%, the 5%. I'm a chairperson of the Committee on Health. We intend to have an orientation about health financing, but most importantly, the proposed National Health Insurance Bill. Hopefully it will be assented to. But it's important for us legislators to understand the finer details, because you cannot debate what you do not know about. The National Health Insurance Scheme, which is named in the health docket, it emanates also from, it's kind of also part of social security, except that this one is more ring-fenced for health. So health workers need to know, why do we intend to remove whatever percentage it is, either is it 3%, is it 4%? And then also the employers need to know at the grand scale, at the bigger level, why do we need a national health insurance scheme? Why do people have to put aside money? And insurance, the principle of insurance is about pooling of resources for a bad day, where you're using economies of scale, pool resources, minimal level. But because we don't anticipate that all the 44 million Ugandans will get sick at one time. So we should be able to save in terms of employers, in terms of health workers in the health space. But personal savings, let me talk from the experience of my constituency. I'm very happy what I see in Koboko, that there are these VSLs, there are these small saving groups. So the culture of savings is there. And one of the banks I spoke to about 2 months ago was doing an audit countrywide of where they are supporting groups. And they were very impressed. And in West Nile, I'm not bragging, but they said Koboko had the best saving culture in West Nile, and it was also ranked on the country scale. Now, my question is, how do we translate the savings into an investment, into some kind of system where there's value addition? Because several times at the end of the year, as a politician, I'm invited for what we call give out parties. And whenever I go to the give out parties, I'm like, okay, you guys have saved the entire year. I've never understood the concept where people save, and at the end of the year, there's a party, there's a bash for sharing. I've never understood that concept. Yes, I go there sometimes as guest of honor, but I'm trying to tell these people and change the mindset that, don't you think if this money rolled over into the next year, you continue saving into the next year, then we can buy something more befitting. But this stuff of splitting, and then somebody goes, Alaka goes and buys a council and things like that, I've never understood that. So I am saying, NSSF, the banking sector, how do we now, the saving culture is there, how do we now translate it into something bigger? Thank you very much.
Thank you, Charles. I think that's where our team, the financial literacy team, has come in and will continue to sensitize members, the public, on saving, investing, where to put that money, and how to get a return out of it. Thank you very much, Charles, for that. I do not know if Joel is still online with us. Is he there? Is Joel still online? He's off, huh? Apologies. Joel must be having technical glitches from that side. So the takeaway from Charles is COVID has also presented an opportunity. We need to look for those opportunities. And it's on that point that I would like to ask, Alaka, did the pandemic present opportunities in your space?
Yeah, I think Dr. Charles Honorable is correct. The pandemic provided a lot of opportunities amidst the challenges, because first of all, I'd earlier on said that it gave a reality check. One, we have all been living as if we are not part of the fourth industrial revolution, the digital revolution. We had all along not imagined that the new normal will become the virtual aspects of life and so on and so forth. And there's been a lot of opportunities, especially in the ICT sector. But again, we had never known that you can actually study online. We had underrated distance learning and we had underrated online learning. But the most important thing is when you're talking about ICT, it's not about going to school and learning about computers, no. It's about information. How do we access information? Because today information flows. So COVID has provided us with a new thing, that there's information out there. You can get it through any other means, and especially virtually. But most importantly, it has also taught us that those who saved for a bad day actually were wise. Now, I've liked something which Dr. Yume has brought up. It's true. West Nile has people with good saving culture, and the Honorable thanks for our people of Koboko. Yes, that culture is there. Even in Arua City, I've been moving around, I've seen ladies saving in boxes and so on and so forth, which is a very good thing. The challenge we have is how do we as a region tap into that savings, which people have had only for the end of the day for Caleb or for Honorable or for some other person to buy a new council. How do we tap this? How do we teach them that, you see, with this voluntary contribution scheme NSSF is unveiling, how do we tap into that? My brother, West Nile has a very big problem. It's historical, but again, it's persistent. It's like a bad cough. You know, we have so many people who actually live to that ripe old age. The issue has been the social security of those people. After retiring, you've heard of stories of how people go back and even the restructuring aspect. You remember when World Bank and IMF brought those policies of restructuring the civil service, how most of our civil servants, our parents who are civil servants, went back to West Nile, and most of them ended up dying within a week or so because they had not prepared their mind for that. And then we have businessmen who have collapsed, their businesses have collapsed, they have gone down, and then they end up dying quickly because they were not prepared for tomorrow. So this thing of the voluntary contribution scheme, to me, is one of the best ideas NSSF has brought. And I think it will benefit us as West Nilers much more than other people, because most of us are in the private sector. That is point number one. And at times to regulate the private sector, even within the law, is very difficult. But when people in the private sector start appreciating and saying, look, there's something good there, and I want to tell you, it will be very beneficial. Once again, thanks NSSF. This week is good for us, and you have done us proud, especially when you've given us a whole day or half a day for West Nile. We are very grateful, because you see, West Nile, as Engineer Itad said, is like Dubai. We are not, actually, with our population of 3 million people, we have been having a debate. We are so powerful as a region without being connected to the national grid. We've been praying, and we are so grateful that as of now, there are visible signs that we are being connected to the national grid. By the way, I not introduce something. I'm actually the chairman of West Nile Electricity Connectivity Forum. And in that forum, we have Honorable Anita Evelyn, who is our patron. Then we have the minister, of course. We have Honorable Atima Lee Jackson. That gentleman is my vice chairman in that committee, and is a member of parliament for Arua Central, and is the government regional whip. Our secretary is Dixon Adomati. He's the deputy resident city commissioner, Arua City. So we've been, as colleagues in West Nile, we formed up this pressure group to ensure that we are connected to the national grid. So our debate has been, we have gone so far, we are big, we are having an impact in this country without being connected to the national grid. So what will happen when we are connected to the national grid? I think you will see a West Nile you've never seen. So we have a very bright future. Now with these kind of packages which NSSF is bringing to us, and with our mindset as business people, and with the saving culture which is in West Nile, once we are connected to the national grid, maybe you'll see me also relocating to that great city called Arua. Thank you.
And you live Kampala.
Yeah, Kampala is the jam is so much.
I have no comment there. And I think the biggest takeaway from the two is that Voluntary is a product that is going to be welcomed from the region. What insights do you have to give us on Voluntary? What is Voluntary? How can people tap into it?
I think, thank you, Alaka, for bringing up that. One of the products which NSSF has actually seen and foresaw, and think that it will help our people during this time, is to introduce voluntary savings. First and foremost, I will disagree with you that West Nile is one of the biggest, having people saving. What is saving, first of all? I concur with the Honorable Ayume saying that the savings we're talking about is there's a box savings, having this small women sitting around over Christmas period, just distribute this money to go and enjoy Christmas. Is that savings, really? My experience is that at my workplace, this pandemic has posed a great challenge to our people than any other person. So we must learn from it. People have lost their jobs. You see somebody coming. If I can share you a video, there's one person who came wanting to stone me because he had not qualified, but he had lost his job. The law does not permit him to be paid, but he has lost his job. And all of them are coming, many. What does that show to us? It means we're not prepared. We're only living hand to mouth, right? The hand to mouth community will never grow. And that is West Nile. That's when I disagree with the Honorable to say that we really have savings. That is not savings for me. The insight, that was apart from your question of voluntary savings. The insight of voluntary savings is you must prepare yourself for what? On addition to the mandatory savings, you can have voluntary savings for retirement. First of all, the voluntary savings will give you comfort in future that really I have something to lean on when I retire from here. It's so flexible that it doesn't matter how much you are. The little you save, begin with, is 5,000 shillings. 5,000 shillings over a period of 10 years is a lot of money. That's what people don't know. What our people know is that they want to save big, okay? But they don't have that big money. They'll ask you, now from this 100 shillings, what do I save? Okay? But somebody can save 5,000, 10,000 over a period of time, and that will change his life in future. That's basically as to why when somebody retires, the first thing he thinks about is to run for NSSF and pick that money. So it means throughout our life, we are not really prepared for retirement. And yet the fund is there every day, sensitizing people about savings, please save, and even gone ahead to bring a new product of voluntary savings, which I've just been elaborating about. In future, I will urge this law to be passed so quickly so that we extend the coverage of Social Security to also those who are now disadvantaged with the current law. So it means everybody will be catered for under the law, where the voluntary savings will be there. So that is a good thing for me, and we must encourage it. That's what I can say. Thank you.
Thank you, Andamba. Charles, I don't know if I still have you. I know you mentioned you're doing a lot of work with the youth. I would like to know what would you advise? How do we get to continue saving without having to buy that kanzu on Christmas and forget that that money was saved and done? What would you advise us to keep on doing such that we save as much as we should, and also not have this saving targeted towards just spending it on Christmas and things go off like that?
First and foremost, I would want to thank the government of Uganda that they have provided the first element of the superstructure, because for growth and development we need certain superstructures. And Alaka, Mr. Caleb Council, he would attest to it. He was, I think, he knows the history of our peace process. Peace is the most fundamental part of the superstructure. Then he talked about other components like electricity. Of course, there's a road, which I think UNRWA, the government of Uganda, has released the strategic plan of construction of the road network. There's water, communication, that's on top of the game. Now, besides our in-country peace, I think we should now look at broadening our peace to our neighbors so that our trade can flourish. I foresee a situation where West Nile, like other speakers say, because of its strategic location, we are going to thrive, and we're going to be the Dubai of Uganda. Any forward-thinking businessman should think of setting up shop in Uganda, places like Koboko in particular, because once the high voltage power lines come, we are going to see a boom. There is already prospective studies in Obongi for petroleum. So we're going to see the region escalate in terms of growth. It is very important that we prepare the youth, the next generation of people from West Nile, to understand the investment opportunities, but most important is financial literacy. How can we take financial literacy down? NSSF, it is, sometimes you cannot bend a tree when it's old. I've seen very strong and well-established businessmen. By the way, I must say that West Nile is a region of self-made entrepreneurs, people who don't tap into the national coffers. These are self-made people who have built progressively over trade. And people like him, Alaka, people like Joel, and so many other people. These are self-made business people. But we need to take financial literacy down. Sometimes when I'm interfacing with my youth and I try and tell them there are these opportunities, there are people in Kampala doing this, different parts of the country, you can have productivity of 12 million shillings from an acre. They think I'm a rocket scientist. They think I'm Albert Einstein. So there's an element of exposure, but also literacy. In this case, pegged to NSSF is financial literacy. How can we take it down further to the business community, to the people out of school, but also to institutions, so that by the time people come out, they have understood the component of NSSF. The first time I looked at my paycheck when I was working for an organization and I saw money going off, I'm like, but who is taking this money? What is NSSF? I tried to understand. Nobody in the organization had explained it to me. You're looking at 5% and 10%. Why don't we take this literacy down to the institution so that by the time people come up, there's voluntary saving. You don't have to start running around for somebody opens up a pharmacy, because I think your act says any business of more than 5 people, you're eligible to pay NSSF. But how many people are falling through that net? Yes, you are, I think, the biggest institution in terms of collecting finances, but I think there's room for you to grow your fund to higher levels. Some people may just adamantly refuse because they don't understand the whole component of social security. I blame this on financial literacy. Tap into them, start educating people, take it low, take it even to commerce. When people are, the little understanding I have about commerce is, I think, my O-level commerce. So why don't you factor that component in there so that by the time we get out of university, I have to walk and know that once I have my law firm and there are more than 5 people, I should be able to pay NSSF returns. But also come down to the informal sector and see how can we train those people. Please help me come to Koboko and train some of these people that savings is not about passing out money at the end of the year. It's about rolling over to an investment, to a form of future social security. Thank you.
Francis, we're coming there to Koboko soon. That's my promise to you.
I think the task has been given to Andama. Andama, they have welcomed us. We have a financial literacy program. I think every week we have webinars. Every other month we have different experts that come on board to discuss everything financial literacy. Andama, the ball is in your court now. The Honorable has mentioned we need to train. We need to bring the awareness of financial literacy to the youth such that tomorrow they can be able to save, such that tomorrow they can be able to buy that kanzu, but at the same time still have that saving with them. Huh?
Thank you. I think I want to concur with the Honorable by saying that the financial literacy aspect must be taken to the grassroots. And I want to say this, as the fund, we have tried to do it. We have moved ahead, taking financial literacy down to schools. For example, when Muni Girls, we have set up a savings group in Muni Girls Secondary School. We're supposed to be in Ombachi and set up saving culture, savings group in Ombachi to inculcate the culture of savings in children. And I will agree entirely with the Honorable that it is not only going to those schools by the fund, but it will be a national issue, putting savings as one of the curriculums, right from primary up to secondary, to the tertiary institutions. Once we do that, I think we are going to boom our economy through savings. We are not going to have those circles who distribute money over the Christmas period and to enjoy Christmas. That's what I can only tell Honorable and agree with him. Honorable, next we are going to Koboko Secondary School. We shall set up a savings group there for the students of Koboko SS. Thank you.
And I would tell us how that saving club that you created in Muni Girls and Umbachi, how did you set it up? How does it work exactly?
We did it through financial literacy. Last year we took it up as we are taking now. We went to Muni and helped Muni set up the library. We distributed tabs to the students. We know now the fund has seen that it is through technology that we can be able to improve the education standards, which we did, and we are doing it in Ombachi again. So when we were there, the first thing was to now have financial literacy, both to the students and the teachers, and then set up the savings club. Right now, we're checking them over and over. They're not in school, but once they are there, I want to report it that the last time when Muni girls were amazed, these small guys, pupils, students, they were able to save up to 3 million shillings plus from their own pocket money, which is a great thing. And once they are there, everybody will now know that any coin which is in my pocket, part of it must be saved for tomorrow. And once we have that, I want to assure you, our economy will grow.
Ah, good stuff. So do they save with the BASA? Do they have a treasury?
They have the entire structure there, just like your circle here of NSSF, which is apart from the NSSF, whether within, but it is independent.
Okay.
So they have the entire structure apart from the administrative structure.
Okay.
Yep.
And this is both for students and also the teachers?
The teachers, no, we're just engaging the students here.
Yeah, okay.
But we encourage the teachers to do the same. Yeah.
Okay, for those who would like to know much more about financial literacy, I implore you to visit our website, www.nsfug.org. You will find everything that we're doing as far as financial literacy is concerned. You will see the program, you will see the different topics, you will see how to get in touch with us, and we will definitely get in touch with you once you reach us out through our social media networks. Alaka, the man of all forms of trades, all skills. What would you advise the youth in terms of, yes, assuming we have built the saving culture, what next? Do I save till I leave it for my children? Do I save for a purpose? Do I save to start a business? What would you advise in terms of saving? What is that end goal?
Thank you so much. Money has 3 components. The first component is savings. The second component is investment. The third component is debt. Before I answer that question, which I think is very important, I just want to say that we already have a concurrence of mind that in West Nile there is a saving culture. My brother Robert Andama sees it as something which is not the actual saving. But again, he agrees with me when he talks about the value of money. I made a statement which looked ridiculous when I talked about the value of 1,000 shillings. And he himself has agreed with me that, you see, at times our people think that you need to have a lot of money to save. No. He put it at 5,000, but for me, I still put it at 1,000. 1,000 is a very important amount of money. If you have 1 million and you have deducted that 1,000, you cease to be a millionaire.
That's true.
If you have 1 billion and you deduct 1,000, you cease to be a billionaire. And for you to add, to reach 10,000, you need that 1,000. So if you value 1,000, I want to assure you, you will know and you will appreciate money. You will start putting aside. For instance, if every day you are putting aside, let's say every week you are just putting aside 1,000 shillings, it will look small in a month. But I want to tell you, after some time, just as Robert has said, you will have money. Now, to the youth, it's not about saving and saving. You see, saving is of 2 cultures, of 2 natures. Even within your saving, you need to delineate 2 things. One aspect is saving for a bad day, the saving you can encroach on. Then the other aspect is saving for when you don't have that energy. as a laka to go to court, to argue a case, to run up and down.
Retirement, you see.
For retirement. That saving is extremely important. So if you have those two savings, then you are ready to go. Because my late uncle, the Commissioner General Etima, used to tell me that, you see, after retirement, my son, I don't want to go and stay in an unfinished garage, because you are forced even to rent out your official residence at an old age. No, you should not go that path. So you need to have that saving in two categories. The saving for a bad day, like COVID is going to come. Your best friend ATM card is there. You can always access it. And then the saving when you don't have energy in your life for retirement. But now, as a youth, my advice to our youth is as follows. I told you that money has three components: savings, investment, and debt. Now, if you want debts to swallow you up, then, my brother, you have no future. Some debts are not necessary. I've just given an example of somebody coming to you and saying, look, give me some 1 million shillings, I'll pay it after 3 days. If they go on and sign an agreement, I always ask them, what is that problem that cannot wait for those 2 days? You be very hesitant to go and borrow. You borrow for a specific purpose, and let that purpose be productive. But you cannot just borrow money for purposes of consuming it. Because there's a wedding, you pledge somewhere, then you go and get money in order to pay for your pledge. Then there you're making a big mistake of yourself. Then secondly, you borrow to finance a lifestyle. You've seen Alaka putting on a petroleum suit, you also want to buy one. I mean, you will never go far. Then the third aspect of money is, if you've got money, appreciate its value. Don't think that 1,000 is useless. Don't think that 10,000 is useless. Don't think that 100,000 is useless. Start investing. And with investment now, that's where you have to tighten your belt. It demands a lot of sacrifice. It involves those other parameters. Are you a risk taker? And this risk is not about this gambling, this shortcut that somebody has called you on Kampala streets and told you, there's a venture here, let's put money into it. That is some illegal thing. If you put this money, it can multiply. Money does not grow like that. That's why I was asking. For certain things, I ask people, does Sudhir do such a thing? If he doesn't, then you can't come and tell me that story. That if you bring this money, this is what we shall do with it. No. Money is visible. Money is not mysterious. You earn it through hard work. After earning it, you make a decision, a conscious decision. Now that I've got this money, how do I grow it? That's the aspect of investment. How do I grow it? You see, if you want to go into real estate at a certain level, you're not going to go into real estate at the level of Sudhir Pereira. No. Sudhir told us the other time when he was on real estate, on a webinar, that you see, if you are going to real estate, until you reach the fourth, that's when you can now start talking about it. But you see, there are smaller levels. You don't need to put Bukoto Heights. You can put, you've seen the majority of these students coming out of all these universities. They all need some rent, but they're not going to pay rent of 1.5 million. No, they will not. And a person who can pay rent of 1.5 million is either an expatriate or is somebody who is capable of building. So you do things you can finish. If you want to go into rentals, start rentals you can complete. Because one of the things which makes people lose money is you want to start a project which you will never finish. One, your money is stuck in that project. It can't do another thing, and that project is not bringing for you income. So you also avoid those kind of investments. Investments which you are never going to get anything out of. You not complete it. Why do you start building rentals which is going to take you 7 years? And in those 7 years, you might lose your job. In those 7 years, you might fall sick. In those 7 years, that money is not working for you. Instead, it has gone to Tororo Cement. It has gone to roofings. it has gone to Hima Cement. Do something you can complete if you want to invest. You are better off planting trees, which after 4 years, and by the way, one of the biggest sure way of investments is going to agri. Of course, the land is not there. That's always the talk. But you see, I've always learned from Robert Kovushenga. Robert is now a full-blown farmer. You know, he was the CEO of New Vision. So, that is the mentality. Go into things you can manage. Don't go into things you can't manage. But have faith in yourself. Everything starts with 1,000 shillings, even less. With 1,000 shillings, if you budget it well, it becomes 2,000, and I will tell you that's how it will become 1 million. You'll never go wrong. So for the youth, it's not about saving until your old age, no. It's about investing, it's about knowing how to live within your means, avoiding these unnecessary debts, and it's about saving. If you can balance those three and work within a budget, I want to assure you, you'll be a happy person. But if you mess yourself up, that useful time will never come back. Every day which passes, every minute which passes, you are growing older and weaker. There are only exceptional people who are still strong at a certain age. I don't want to mention about them. Thank you.
Thank you, Caleb. Thank you very much. So the takeaway is save with a purpose. Have what you're going to save for, and whatever it is that you're going to invest in, invest within your means. And you believe with that we shall be able to have a prosperous future, just like you do. I think you're one of the people who can afford the house of 1.5. Honorable Charles, I think this is one of my last questions. You work very closely with the youth. You've mentioned that we need to impart as much financial literacy around them. But I have one simple question for you before I wind up, is beyond, assuming I do not have that formal employment, you mentioned how CVs of today have, I was a class monitor, you know, I was the prep master, and whatever might have been the case. What else can the youth do to put that extra money in their pocket if they have to? What else can the youth do to keep their minds busy? What else can the youth do to give their lives more purpose in the current state that we're in?
Thank you very much. You appreciate that we have two categories of youth. There is the youth in school and the youth out of school. We need to stratify our youth and understand who are the majority. And then also tailor certain interventions based on which category are we looking at. Sometimes we package information, one size fits it all, and one group of the youth is struggling to see sense in what you're trying to say. And I'm very happy with the government that they have packages called, that is a Directorate of Industrial Training, where they have noticed that if Alaka has grown up in a carpentry workshop, but he has not had formal schooling, he has the skills. How do we assess this youth? Or he has grown up in a boda garage, but by the time he's the equivalent of somebody who is in S4 and who has gone to a technical institute, this gentleman has gotten that apprenticeship from his parents and some skills that have been pushed down generations. So the government, through DIT, has a program for assessing people who have not had that formal education or formal training. And they'll come and tell you this mounted boda engine, what is this? So that's a carburetor, all that. And then they assess, and you're scored and given a handbook, which is an authentic document. You can take it to DR Congo, you can take it to South Sudan and get a job with it. So we need to look at our youth and try and tailor solutions based on different groups. I'll give you an example. We have all these projects coming up in the region, the building of these pylons, the building of Karuma Dam. All these are employing youths from within the region. The substation in Nebi, in Arua, and I think the future substation for the pylons in Koboko, the Nyagak Dam, and so many. What Joel Aita is doing, the Arua Central Market, Yumbe Hospital. Do we take stock of these youth and find out, has there been a transformation in their livelihoods? And trust me, I interact with a lot of the youth in my constituency, and I play football with them. But whenever you give them money, it is either going to Alaka's Geluta, and they are giving cash to Alaka. Alaka was talking about giving cash to Hima Cement, but my youth are also giving him cash by going to Geluta and Delaville. But what I am saying is that when these projects come, like for example, UNRWA released their 5-year project for roads countrywide. Don't you think it would be important that when there is, after they have done groundbreaking, and the contractor has recruited maybe 300 youths, because as part of those project clauses, there's a component for health and safety. And indeed, a contractor is under an obligation to provide health and safety literacy meetings every month, distribution of condoms, free HIV testing. And when the teams come to supervise, let me talk from the side of health. Whenever we would be doing support supervision of construction of these hospitals, we'd have to look at the register. When did you have your last site meeting of HIV/AIDS, literacy and all that? Why can't we have financial literacy? What you're telling me now, NSSF, why can't the government, or through people like NSSF, hold financial literacy? Because if somebody is earning 20,000 a day, and at the end of the week he's paid 6 times 20, that's 120,000. How can we ensure that this money is put to best use? Because if we took a stock of these youth, what have they done with that money after a project of 2 years? He has either got 3 girls pregnant, maybe that's if he bought a boda.
You're being too harsh.
And so many things. I'm talking from reality, because when we were in Yumbe recently during lockdown, the DPC and the RDC Yumbe, please, you can call her. There's a gentleman who is on the run, boda rider, impregnated 11 girls. So these are some of the things we're seeing down there. But when a youth of 16 years old gets hold of 120,000 shillings per week, he runs mad. He runs amok. He's going to buy an Arsenal jersey of Aubameyang instead of buying one for Liverpool of Mohamed Salah. He's going to buy, I don't know, high-top Canvas shoes or sneakers, then go to Alaka's Delaville nightclub. When we take stock at the end of the project, has it transformed society? Trust me, these guys are still at the same level. So financial literacy, how do we package? When a project comes, let's go down and impart these people that 120 we are paying you per week. You can go to whatever these, the Boxaka outlet in Arua, make a deposit for your boda. Your young brother starts doing the boda business while for you you're working. So different components. Good enough, finally, in the parish model that government is trying to roll out soon, that's the flagship for the next 5 years, there's a component of mindset change. It's one of the pillars of the parish model. And some of these things will be captured there. But if the private sector can take the lead, as government, we would really appreciate. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Honorable. So the takeaway is gain skills. You do not have to always do the formal thing, but skills are key. and also packaging financial literacy when a project comes up. I think that is a good one for us. We will definitely, under Marit, take that up. It's a challenge that we have accepted. If projects are coming up and they are going to hire as many youth, we will take up that challenge of going to impart some financial literacy skills and knowledge to the youth on that project, such that when you do the stock like you've explained, we can see value at the end of it all and not a border gentleman running away after. So I've been told that I'm running out of time. So I would like to take this opportunity to thank everyone for who tuned in, and at the same time remind us that we are here for you. We are NSSF. Please look us up on our websites, on our social platforms, and we will continue engaging with you in this Customer Connect Week. To wrap it up, I would like to ask Alaka for a few parting words for the youth under the theme of Rebuilding Together. We shall proceed to Honorable Charles, and then LC1 Chairman will close it up for us.
Thank you so much. NSSF, the management, the board, the staff, thanks so much for being pro-Ugandans. We appreciate. And thanks so much for this program. My parting words are just short. One, we live once. Every minute counts. Be happy, be responsible. What you do today has an effect on your tomorrow. And ensure that your tomorrow is as comfortable as your today. And you can only ensure that through either social security or savings. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Honorable Charles, any parting words for us?
Thank you very much to the management of NSSF for organizing this program. And it's an honor and a privilege for me to be part of the panel. On the side of government, I would really want to thank government for the prevailing peace, the atmosphere, which is really a very fundamental pillar for growth. Our history as the West Nile has been a checkered one, from war, peace and recovery. Now I think we're on the growth curve. The future is definitely bright. And I would want to assure listeners and viewers out there that one of the most fundamental pillars of growth and development is electricity. And good enough, this parliamentary forum of West Nile MPs is quite aggressive. They are picking up from where their predecessors left, and we are really biting the Ministry of Energy to ensure that by November 2022, West Nile is connected to the national grid.
Excellent.
The dam is almost near completion. Pylons are coming. You've seen that through the national park, the high voltage cables. And base stations, substations already being constructed. Some are 95% complete, like the one in Oluyo. So the future is bright for West Nile. It's in my humble plea, and we keep on praying to God that the guns in South Sudan and DR Congo can go quiet, and we have a stable Central Africa, stable South Sudan, because our future is in trade. Once these trade routes are opened up, like Joel said, Central African Republic is just 24 hours away. Government of Uganda, I would want to also thank the government opening roads in DR Congo. Let the average Ugandan know that these bilateral agreements are supposed to foster trade, because our products go 200 kilometers. Central Africa, the likes of the Mahagi in Congo, Rumbek in Sudan, Yei, are all serviced by Ugandan products. I would want to encourage all forward-thinking businessmen to come and set up shop in West Nile. It is supposed to be the next Dubai of Uganda. You're more than welcome. Finally, NSSF, our golf course in Arua, please let us unlock and ensure that it is complete, because I think we don't want it to be a white elephant. Thank you very much.
Andama.
Thank you so much. I think my last words are that I want to take opportunity to thank the government for all the programs and the projects they are bringing up, especially gearing towards the youth. We have seen that the youths in our area, especially West Nile, have a very poor culture. Much as the programs are there, you will believe with me, Mr. Laka and Charles, you have been moving in the villages. All the trading centers are now littered with the youth, marungi eaters, against all the projects we are bringing for them. So what the government needs to do is now to change a way maybe of trying to improve, especially the culture of work. Encourage culture of work. The youth are not working. They sit from morning up to evening. They want to eat. They want to eat food. They want to eat marungi. But they don't want to work. Kindly look into that issue. And then also the issue of their attitude towards work must also be looked at. Once we do that, I think we shall have a great West Nile for all of us. And then I will also want to take the opportunity to thank my brothers, the panelists, Alaka Caleb, and Charles Ayume, Honorable, for honoring this. I think we need you more. The reason why we called you here and to talk to your people in West Nile about financial literacy is to change their mind, because they already know you are few guys in West Nile who have transformed West Nile in terms of ideas, in terms of physical. We missed Aita a lot. We will want to have his experience on how he's trying to change the entire outlook of Arua. You will believe with me, I wish Aita was here, but due to those technical issues, we missed him a lot. And I'll urge, one time we call him again, because he's a resource. He has changed the face of Arua town himself alone. So he's somebody who can really inspire, and we look forward into tapping his idea tomorrow. Then lastly, my thanks go to management of NSSF and the staff. You are doing a great job. I think we are one of the few employers doing that. I was even urging if the banks could do the same, and then we shall have an impact. Because NSSF alone, having this, taking this financial literacy down to the roots may not be enough. So if other institutions could partner with the fund and to move this agenda, and then we shall see a change. Thank you so much for bringing this agenda to West Nile, and we are so grateful for you. To the entire West Nile, we are there to serve you. We are located in Arua. I told you earlier on that Arua covers a number of districts, around 11 I mentioned. I wouldn't want to say again. But we have outreach centers in Moyo, which covers Moyo, Yumbe, and some parts of Koboko. We normally go there once, but because of COVID, we have taken a while. And then we also have another outreach center in Nebi. So these are centers we go and serve people once. When we go to those centers, we take entire staff, we take entire office, and we sit there for a week to serve you. We wouldn't want you to be bothered by the distance. We're here to take the service closer to you. Thank you so much, people of West Nile.
Thank
Over
you,
to
Andama. Thank you very much. To be honest, it has been a very pleasure and honor to have all of you here with me. I think this is the first for me, and I look forward to sending WhatsApps such that don't ignore them. Don't what they say, blue tick them. The session is coming to an end. I would like to mention that NSSF, together with other financial institutions and Bank of Uganda, will be celebrating World Savings Day on 31st October with the theme of Save As You Earn. The conversation continues. It's Customer Connect Week. Please follow us on Twitter, YouTube, and let's get the engagement going. Thank you.